You're busy, you've got a decent practice, but nobody wants to be decent. You want to be great, and you want to have a great practice. So how did the most productive, profitable dentist in the nation balance real life, work, and profits, and somehow make it all seem fun? Well, it comes down to simple, everyday practices. So grab a lunch, join us as we chat with top clinicians and influencers to discover their formula for uncommon success. Are you ready? Then it's time to explore everyday practices with Vicki McManus-Peterson and Dr. Chad Johnson.
Fastest intro ever. Vicki McManus, Chad Johnson, Bren Barbour from PDA. Here we go. Vicki, hit us off.
Woohoo! So, Chad, I get so excited every time we get to work with the coaches from PDA.
Absolutely.
Carrie Miller is your primary coach.
Yes.
And you've had Deidre Bentley come in your office.
Yeah.
And we've interviewed Patty Suey, the $65 million coach.
Yes.
And today we have Brenda Barbour, who is one of my longest and dearest consulting friends in the entire country. She and I go back all the way to our roots, working with Tony Robbins. And this will give the audience kind of a perspective. Tony was 30 years old and just getting started when we worked with him.
Wow. Okay, you realize you just dated us.
No, we're timeless.
No, you guys were in junior high at the time. It's all right.
Exactly. Totally.
He was our camp counselor. But, so Brenda just brings a wealth of knowledge. I have no idea where we're going to go with you today, Brenda, and that's the beauty of it, because you're just such a treasure, like a gold mine of information. So Chadwick, if you could ask a consultant anything about anything dental practice management, what would you want to know?
Bren, I have to admit, I didn't know your full name was Brenda. And so this blows my mind. And
I might be the only person who calls her Brenda.
I know. I was just like, well, who knew? It's Brenda. And not only that, but now you know, and the audience knows, my full name is Chadwick. I think one good question, because if there's not 10, there's 100. But with coaching, when is the right time for a practice to start coaching?
Wow. I don't know that there's not ever a good time, because when they show up every day, I'm going to do a Michael Gerber phrase, and work in their practice, they're in the weeds, and they may be putting out fires, or they may have things really organized, but they don't necessarily know when you're on the field playing, you don't get the benefit of unless you're filming it, look at the video clip and see what we could have done better or differently. So I think at any point when somebody's ready to be better, that's when it's time.
Okay. Here's a next question. What do you do with a toxic team when you go in and they want coaching? Let's say the doctors want coaching, and you go into their office and you go, holy moly, I see a couple alphas arguing here, or whatever. What do you do with the toxic team from day one when you go in and you walked into a landmine? Just like this landmine of a question.
Exactly. Thank you very much. I think it's important to listen first, to ask them what they see is working, to ask them what they see are challenges, what they think solutions would be. And then, and I'm making this up, but if it was something that didn't fit in the budget, for example, kind of explain to them, that's a great solution, and maybe later, please don't shut down on bringing your thoughts to the table. Just, I'll try to always give you a why behind something, but I think you need to ask questions and listen first.
So, Bren, do you think sometimes when you first start with a doctor and they may perceive or think that it's a toxic team environment, that really there's just no clear rules, and that, have you ever seen that environment turned around even when you thought it couldn't be turned around?
A lot of times it's, yes, unclear expectations, unclear job descriptions. They think they have a clear system, but the system's clearly not working. One of the first questions I ask doctors when they start coaching is their opinion of, do you have right people in right positions, or do you have poor systems?
Oh, write that down, Chad. That's a good one. Do you have the right people in right positions, or do you have poor systems? And I always shortcut that as there's no defects in people, only in systems. So
Well,
I
wait
like
a
the
second.
way you're pulling
Are those
that
mutually
apart.
exclusive?
And sometimes, though, they have the right people, but we need to shift the position. I've
Right.
just done that with a 5-year coaching client. We just shifted a position to really totally play to this lady's strength. She knocks it. I would put a camera on her and video her for assistance. Here's how you conduct a new patient exam. She's that good. Okay.
And what was she doing before?
She's not the most outstanding dental assistant as far as four-handed dentistry.
Okay.
And
So
she was both.
clinically, she was there as an assistant, but she really developed the communication system. The communication is more of her forte, not the hand-eye coordination and the pace.
Yes, and I'm blessed enough that this is a 3-doctor practice and 6 hygiene practice, so that there's now new patient volume and that kind of stuff that we can totally play to her strengths. I think sometimes I agree with you, but that's also how I look at you. We may have right people, but they're not even in the right positions. Are we really playing to their strengths?
Yeah.
Can we? And can we? In practice,
you
I
got
was
your
lucky we could.
Yeah, you got your shortstops in the outfield.
Yeah, doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Isn't she a gold mine? Like you're the coach's coach. You're the master, right?
Oh, thank you. No. Yeah. Every time we have a coach's retreat, I realize how much I don't know.
That's a good position to be in, yes. When you're curious.
Yeah.
Bren, how did you get involved in dentistry in the first place?
Oh, gosh. This is going to make you laugh. A dentist moved across the street. I was in high school, and I was promoted from babysitter of 5 kids under age 10. He's like, well, she didn't screw that up. So coming after school and sterilize instruments and pour up models and all that stuff, ended up assisting, got my RDA, assisted my way through college. Yeah, mm-hmm. But that's how I literally started as the grunt worker, even low man on the totem pole, and worked my way up to assisting.
Wow.
Was this in Washington State back in the day?
No, this was in North Georgia. It's where the accent comes from.
Okay, I wondered. All right. What town back then?
Calhoun, Georgia.
Calhoun,
and as soon as I graduated, I moved to Atlanta.
That's so funny. Wait. Let's compare years, right? Because I grew up in St. Mary's, Georgia, just outside the Okefenokee Swamp. Okay. Went to hygiene school in Jacksonville, Florida, and as soon as I could, moved to Athens. And then from Athens, I went to Atlanta, and you went to Atlanta. I was there in 1989 to 2004. You were in Atlanta
86 to 93 and moved to San Diego to go to work for Tony Robbins.
That's right. And I came to work in Tony's company in 95, like 2 years after you. God, we really do have the same roots. You got Georgia Tap
How
roots.
How did you lose the Southern accent?
Because when I was 6 years old, I started watching the news, and I said, Mama, why them people don't talk like us? And so I wanted to be like Walter Cronkite. And she's like, I don't know. I was like, Mama, where are they from? And she's like, I don't know, the Midwest.
Nebraska.
So I just started saying, where, and every encyclopedia, every globe, I would go, where's the Midwest? I want to go to the Midwest. I want to talk like people in the Midwest.
See, Chad, that's where I missed an opportunity.
Isn't that so sad? Because there's a lot of times where I hear people say, wouldn't it be so cute if we could ship our kids off to South Carolina and have them talk like that accent,
Oh, how funny. Not if they want to be a brain surgeon.
What a great trade-off, I'm not a brain surgeon, but I talk with a Southern accent. It's like, you're hired. I had an assistant from Louisiana, and I told her, I said, I don't mean this in any mean way, but I think I would have hired you just because of your accent. I could sit and listen to you all day long.
That's so funny. Have you ever heard Jeff Foxworthy go, and what we gonna do is we're going to open up your brain and we're going to root around here with our drill.
Yes.
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 Just it doesn't sound intelligent. So, Brenda, what is the goofiest thing you have ever seen doctors try to implement in their practice? Like, what are some of the goofy things that you go, oh, man, you should have known that wasn't going to work? It might be,
oh, wow.
That might be an on-the-spot question.
And give names.
Hi, I'm actually trying to think. I can't think of anything really goofy.
All right. See, that was a trick question, and my thought
really
is, I hear so many speakers on the circuit say dentists aren't business people. Dentists aren't good business people. And here's what I think. I think that they are freaking amazing business people, because despite the fact that they weren't giving classes in accounting and employment law and HR and all of that, they have like a 98% success rate. Mm-hmm. But then you look at restaurant owners and they're out of business every 3 years. Mm-hmm. And the grocery store margins are so small. So here's the dentist. You heard it from Brenda Barbour, one of the smartest consultants in the nation. You make very few goofy mistakes, and you're a great business person.
I truly can't think of anything really that I would consider goofy or horribly bizarre or anything like that. No.
Okay. Bren, I want to hear if you've heard of this.
Done now, right?
Well, I'm going to share one, and you tell me if you've heard something like this. Okay. I heard of a dentist that as an employee gift every year, at the end of the year, the employee's gift was they could choose to fire any patient they wanted.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's not goofy. That's fair.
Isn't that amazing? I know, but well, brilliant, goofy. So, Bren, what's in your future?
What's in my future? I plan to be with PDA when I retire.
Which is that's not a better for question. A long time.
I hope not. Hopefully there's another 10, 12, 15 years in there at some point with less travel. But even if I was able to, as we grow, be involved in training other coaches or anything like that, I would always want to have a half a dozen or so clients. I enjoy it that much, and I think you need the hands-on if you're really going to be effective.
Mm-hmm. Have I heard right that you, I've heard rumor that you get over to Omaha for coaching, or is it Lincoln, Nebraska or something like that?
My first time is going to be next month.
Ooh.
Yes.
Well, some point, if you're ever over in that area, it's just a couple hour drive over to Des Moines. So maybe we could piggyback something. You were just talking about traveling less, and then I'm just going, hey, you want to travel a little less?
Come to the middle of nowhere and see me.
Where our accents are as pure as...
I used to have a client in Dubuque.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is even better. We have, terminals in our airport. And stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. That was mean against the Dubuque people. I'm sorry. That was a mean, big Des Moines joke.
Let's not bully.
I know, right? Dubuque's a beautiful town. It's wonderful, really.
Well, and at least
for all the audience, near Dubuque, Iowa is where they shot Field of Dreams. So you can go visit the Field of Dreams and stuff. What town is that? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm blanking on it right now. But it's 30 minutes to the west of Dubuque. So Dyersville. Yeah, Dyersville. Wow. You can still go and check out the Field of Dreams, and there you have it.
So Brenda, you brought up something really cool, and this podcast is all about coaching and how and why we coach and who benefits from it. And our style at PDA is a little bit different. Like we have, and Chad, you'll be jealous. We, the coaches went down to Puerto Vallarta.
Well, I know. I saw on Facebook.
Rented a house that sleeps. It was a little deceptive, the photos. It sleeps 14 and we had 11. So we thought we'd have plenty of room. It's really like 3 bedrooms. But, six beds in each room. It wasn't quite
that makes for a good retreat.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about how PDA functions for the client, because you don't get just one coach. There's like this whole brain trust that I really love. And it's not just because I'm here and help to build it, but it seems unique. And you've worked in a lot of variety of situations independently with other firms, different that. So I'm really curious your perspective, how it's different, how it supports the clients differently.
I think it's definitely not cookie cutter. I mean, granted, we teach certain systems, but we also evaluate for a client what's working for them, and we don't come in and go, nope, throw all that out, do it this way.
Absolutely. That's what I love about PDA.
And we don't hear you always get this first. It's what, there's an analysis kind of done on the practice, and it's what are their immediate needs? Are there any fires to put out, or are we just going to try and grow and make things much better? I think we focus definitely more on where do they need to be to have more ideal overhead and therefore more profitability versus where we are. And how are we going to close that gap? What systems are going to help close it? Is there, including marketing, is there marketing needed? And that can be very different for each practice. And then map out a strategy and show them. It may seem like this huge number, but when you chuck it down to the hourly, that's where we're really different. Here's how we're going to get there in this amount of time, and you can change the pace. Doctor, team, how fast do you want to get there? And here's what's in it for you, even team, as we go along that. We don't have just like one bonus option or anything like that. It's totally customized based off the practice's profitability. So I think that's where
I love that. And I've never seen a client of yours not grow. And they grow rapidly. And they grow in these tiny little imperceivable chunks. I don't know if you do this with your kids, Chad, but I like to punish my children in ways that seem like it's not punishment at first, but then it's really like, whoa, the full impact hits. Brenda does that with teams. She's like, the shifts are so small and imperceivable that in the beginning you don't even realize you're changing, and then the momentum builds and it builds on itself really fast. You've got this magic.
I've done that with my team with PDA. Not I have done. Carrie has done that with our team where
you were involved.
Well, I was involved in seeing that change happen, but typically what I was afraid of with a prototypical consulting firm would be that they would tell me what to do. I would be forced to change to do that, and reluctantly we would end up there. But what's cool about PDA was that they just said, I mean, listen, you can try that if you want, but if you don't, then you don't have to because you're in charge. And eventually I would say, well, maybe what if I did want to try that? And then it was this reverse psychology where I'd go, what if I did want to try that? And they were like, well, the first thing that you'd have to do is this and that. And I'd be like, okay, so let's say I did that this next week. And then what? Well, let me know when you're done with that. And then what we'll do is by the end of the year, we'll see if we can't switch it the whole way to this. And I'd say, well, maybe I want to get it done by the summer. And funny enough, then all of a sudden I'm doing everything that I wanted, like that they would have wished I would want to do, but they found a way to get me to want it myself, as opposed to twisting my arm to force me to do it. I wouldn't have done it that way.
You really are a takeaway challenger sales kind of guy. You can't do it. No, that's only for the big kids.
Watch me. How fast do you want me to mow this lawn? I will mow it faster than that.
I don't know if you really want to mow a lawn, Chad.
Oh yeah? Watch me.
Yeah. Well, Brent, thank you for sharing some of your golden nuggets. My takeaways, and it seems very practical. Number one is figure out what I'm hearing you say is, for the doctors and the people who are listening, figure out where you want to go in life, right? And then we can come in here and have experts like you kind of assess it and say, where are you at today? Where have you laid the foundation? And what's that gap? And then once you identify where you want to go and where you're at, it's easy to break down the strategy in nice, easy, doable pieces. And job one is not the same for everybody.
Not at all.
It's worth just having a look under the hood to see what the possibilities are before, and I think it is crazy. I see a lot of talk out there, a lot of free Facebook groups and free peer-to-peer mentorship. And I think mastermind groups are really fantastic. I do. But to really move the dial, having that custom advisory, like what, and you said this earlier, Chad, we're going to bring on one of our CPAs, Rich Bloomfield, and you're going to share some of your stuff, because general information is great. It gives you vocabulary, but how do you chunk it down to what am I doing with my team and to move the dial? So I just want to say thank you for being such an industry veteran.
Thank you.
Thank you for declaring you're going to be around for another 15 years. And we got that on recorded. We recorded it.
That was actually the purpose of this. It was an intervention, Bren.
Good. I appreciate the opportunity. I hope it's
well, it's good for everybody to get to know our team, because they have their primary coach, but every coach is backed up by a dozen others. So thank you.
Say, Bren, I have one more serious question before I ask you a ridiculously goofy question. But so one question that I have is, let's say that someone is on a stranded island where they can't get a hold of PDA coaches. Okay. So, PDA aside, in the general terms, if someone's looking for coaching and you were saying, okay, to my son's friend or to my, just like a family friend, what should I be looking for in a coach or in consulting? If I was starting to look because I was frustrated with how I was getting it done, or I wanted it to take it to the next level, what should I look for in a coach? How should I go about hiring someone, finding that ideal person to take care of me?
Test them to see what kind of questions they ask you. Like, I've heard dentists say, so what should my overhead be? And there are some consultants out there that would throw out a percentage. My first question, and anybody in PDA's first question, would be, where are you in your practice life cycle, doctor? Okay. Sure. So, are they inquisitive? Do they dig deep? Or do they just instantly go to, here's your answer? Because as you know, somebody that just opened their doors 2 months ago or just purchased a practice 2 months ago is not going to have that ideal percentage of overhead. So I would ask them some basic questions, and do they give you an instant answer, or do they dig deep before they express an opinion?
That's a great distinction.
Because your practice is yours. It's unique.
Yeah.
You've got your own unique challenges. Yeah.
Good. Thanks for sharing that. Here's my last question, and this is the silly one. Bacon or eggs?
I'm from the South. What do you think I'm going to say?
Well, I'm hoping you say the right answer.
Bacon.
She's from the South. It's bacon and eggs with grits.
No, not for me. Not the girl.
Aw. And now we finally found the difference between us.
I like them. If they are so calorie laden that they have a ton of butter and probably even sugar in them, I'd have 2 or 3 bites and that'd be it.
Bacon it is.
We've got, to the audience here, we've got 2 Georgia girls. So I want to know, when do you guys have peaches? Do you guys have peaches for breakfast? Not now, but I'm just saying, the essential Georgian. Is this a
Georgia peach?
Yeah. Is this a dinner thing? Is it a breakfast?
I was never a cobbler or fruit pie type person. So if I ate peaches, they were probably by themselves.
Just fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Because I bet they're just spectacular fresh there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we would eat them fresh, especially those little ones that are so juicy. Or just, I still see my dad sitting around with his pocket knife, slicing up a peach and eating it right off your pocket knife. And then mom would cut it up and put it in a bowl with sugar.
Because it needs more sugar.
Because it needs more sugar. Wait. And then on top of the sugar for the kids, she'd put Cool Whip.
Sounds like my mom with strawberries,
Yeah, and peach cobbler on Sunday at Granny Dinkin's house. Yeah.
Wow.
Fun memories.
You reminded me.
Georgia
I
girls.
ate a lot of peaches.
Now Vicky's going to run to the grocery store, and we know what she's doing this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah. I tell you what, I will send you some Yakima. Here in Washington State, they have amazing peaches, and we go over to Eastern Washington where Patty Sui lives and get those little donut peaches. Oh,
who knew?
They're like heaven. I'll
Right.
send you some.
Cool. I've had some of her dried fruit, some of her pears. I could sit and eat that all day long.
Okay, that's our next business plan. If we ever give up this consulting gig, we're going to go over to Patty's house and dry fruit.
Try. One day later, you're like, what do we got now?
What do we got? Who's on the dehydrator? Come on, ramp up production. We're going to be the productive dried fruit company.
She's good at it. She's very good.
Well, audience, I'm sorry that I got them going on peaches. So we're going to wrap up, and we'll see you next episode. Thanks for joining us on Everyday Practices Bacon.
Bring your lunch or take us to the gym again next week to improve your everyday practices. Also, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, and sign up for our email list. Now get out there and win with Everyday Practices.